Hello. Welcome back, and thanks for stopping by. We'd love to have you here. Now, this
And
is going to be
the video before the video starts, okay?
That's right. Just like it on your way in. Come on, just hit the like button. It really helps.
Yeah.
The thing
Give
is,
us like 3 likes, okay? Or 2.
if you hit the like button, then it tells YouTube that because if a bunch of people watch it and nobody likes it, then they're not going to recommend it to anybody because they're saying people are watching it, but they don't like it. So why would you recommend it? So it does help. And then before we get started with Evelina, I always like to ask just for fun, what did you have for dinner? Or what are you going to have? We had chicken, and I wanted to do, I kind of wanted
What are you going to have for dinner?
I wanted the deep fried, breaded chicken, but I didn't want deep fried. I didn't want it oily. So I baked it. And it's hard to bake breaded things, but it turned out really good. I've done it quite a bit trying to figure out how to make it yummy, and it worked, and it was good. And then I also did baked veggies. So we had a tray that had like carrots and celery and potatoes, mushrooms, seasoned Parmesan cheese, all that. So just veggies and chicken, and then a really good kind of ranch onion dip. It was that I made that was extra yummy. It was good. So that's what we had for dinner. Not doing dessert tonight. We had some yesterday, so we're good. And I'm going to show off a few things I made because, I can. So this,
and we actually did have a dessert. It was Twisty Treat ice cream.
Right. We ran some errands, but we just walked because they were close by, and it was the most beautiful evening. It was like 73 degrees. Probably Kaden said, "What are you doing? What is happening?"
Dancing?
Well, that was a weird dance. Okay, nobody wants to see you dance like a chicken.
It's a worm dance.
Oh, the worm dance. Okay. Anyway, so we walked a couple of blocks down to go to the grocery store and the UPS store to grab a couple of things. And we stopped by Twisty Treat and got ice cream. So we did have dessert just before dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a vanilla strawberry twist with a lot of sprinkles on it.
Yeah, it had a lot of sprinkles.
A ton.
I think they actually just roll it in sprinkles because it was just coated. Too many, I thought. But she loves sprinkles, so it's good. It's all good. So I started working. I usually do resin, but I've started working with clay, the polymer clay, and I like it. It's really fun because everything you can't do with resin, you can do with clay. So it's a really good. It kind of balances out because there's so many things. I wish I could, do certain things that you just can't do with resin, and so clay has fulfilled that need for me. Anyway, I think I don't know. It's kind of silly, but adorable. I was just kind of having fun with it and playing. So it's this cute little, the heart, and then it has the clay set inside. And then I did the little gemstones, pressed in and glued into the clay, making flowers, and then did a little tassel on it. I don't know. I think it's adorable. I wasn't really going for gorgeous or anything, but it turned out cute. Kind of silly, but cute. Hi, baby. He's such a boy. He loves balls. As you can hear, the ball bouncing around. If I can get this back in the package. There we go. And then I know, bad timing. Here it is, January, past Christmas. But I've done a bunch of these little Christmas tree earrings. And I've done tons of different styles. And I've done some with all different colors in them. And they are so cute. When I was doing a lot of fairs and craft shows. Oh, do you want to come say hi? Oh, say hi.
Bleh.
People loved the Christmas trees, especially because several of them I did like a white or a green background, and then I put different things that looked like ornaments and stuff in them, so they looked like a decorated Christmas tree. These ones are a little more just kind of a sparkly greenish, looks like they have snow on them or something. Really cute. But why are you making faces? If you're gonna come over here, then be cute. Not weird. What the heck? And then necklaces. This is not one of my favorites, but it's interesting how there have been so many times when I've made something and thought, oh, I had an idea, a picture in my mind, and then it does not turn out how I wanted, and I'm so disappointed in it. So to me, it's not cute. And then somebody would come up to my booth and freak out like, oh, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. Oh my heck. And they'll carry it around and hug it like it's the best thing ever. So I've learned not to think, oh, that's not cute. It's really cute to somebody, I've been surprised sometimes how my least favorite things have been other people's most favorite
Look
things.
at this.
Yeah, I already
so
showed them
pretty.
that one. And then, so this is the flower, and I did
Looks like an ice cream.
beads in the center, and they didn't really show up like I wanted, but it's kind of subtle, I guess, and it's a pretty color.
Roblox Colombian dancer. It's a robot Colombian dancer.
I don't even know what that is.
A robot Colombian dancer.
A robot Colombian dancer.
Yeah.
And then music. I love music, so I do quite a few music things. So this, we have the treble clefs set in the oval. Really cute. I like those soft, pretty colors. Okay, anyway, so we're going to get started, and a little recap. So you're so helpful. She's helpful. So we did, yesterday we read about, they went out to tea or something like that, and there was a guy, and she doesn't even know his name, but they went in to sit down, and it was a large group of people, and Lord Orville was there, and Sir Clement was there, but she won't talk to Sir Clement because she's so mad at him for, trapping her in the carriage and not letting her get out and making sure they went the wrong way so he could be alone with her, and she was terrified. Oh, what do you have? Oh, nice puppy. Oh, so nice. Oh, so many loves. Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tess, for the puppy. Oh, do you love the doggy? Anyway, so when they went in there, this guy that was, he was a lord also, which is, very high ranking in the nobility in Britain. But he just sat there and stared at her and never took his eyes off her, and then made kind of a little bit obnoxious, saying how gorgeous she was and everything. And she was so embarrassed and uncomfortable. And that's so rude to just sit there and stare at somebody. And anyway, and then the captain was his usual rude self. So then everybody else left and they went home, and she was quite distressed about that whole experience. Okay. So, letter 24. Mr. Villers to Evelina. So this one isn't from Evelina. Most of them are from her, but there are the few where they write back. So, Berry Hill, April 12th. How much do I rejoice that I can again address my letters to Howard Grove. My Evelina would have grieved had she known the anxiety of my mind during her residence in the great world. My apprehensions have been inexpressibly alarming, and your journal, at once exciting and relieving my fears, has almost wholly occupied me since the time of your dating it from London. Sir Clement Willoughby must be an artful, designing man. I am extremely irritated at his conduct. The passion he pretends for you has neither sincerity nor honor. The manner and the opportunities he has chosen to declare it are bordering upon insult. His unworthy behavior after the opera convinces me that, had not your vehemence frightened him, Queen Anne Street would have been the last place whither he would have ordered his chariot. Oh, my child, how thankful am I for your escape. I need not now, I am sure, enlarge upon your indiscretion and want of thought in so hastily trusting yourself with a man so little known to you, and whose gaiety and flightiness should have put you on your guard. The nobleman you met at the Pantheon, bold and forward as you describe him to be, gives me no apprehension. A man who appears so openly licentious, and who makes his attack with so little regard to decorum, is one who, to a mind such as my Evelina's, can never be seen but with the disgust which his manners ought to excite. But Sir Clement, though he seeks occasion to give real offence, contrives to avoid all appearances of intentional evil. he is far more dangerous, because more artful. But I am happy to observe that he seems to have made no impression upon your heart, and therefore a very little care and prudence may secure you from the designs which I fear he has formed. Lord Orville appears to be a better order of beings. His spirited conduct to the meanly impertinent Lovell, and his anxiety for you after the opera, prove him to be a man of sense and of feeling. Doubtless he thought there was much reason to tremble for your safety while exposed to the power of Sir Clement, and he acted with a regard to real honour that will always incline me to think well of him in so immediately acquainting the Mervyn family with your situation. Many men of this age, from a false and pretended delicacy to a friend, would have quietly pursued their own affairs, and thought it more honourable to leave an unsuspecting young creature to the mercy of a libertine, than to risk his displeasure by taking measures for her security. Your evident concern at leaving London is very natural, and yet it afflicts me. I ever dreaded your being too much pleased with the life of dissipation. Kayla, so will you turn that down? It's a little bit loud. Oh, so then Caden turns on a noisy toy, of course. With a life of dissipation, which youth and vivacity render but too alluring, and I almost regret the consent for your journey, which I had not the resolution to withhold. Alas, my child, the artlessness of your nature and the simplicity of your education alike unfit you for thorny paths of the great and busy world. The supposed obscurity of your birth and situation makes you liable to 1,000 disagreeable adventures. Not only my views, but my hopes for your future life have ever centred in the country. Shall I own to you that however I may differ from Captain Mervyn in other respects, yet my opinion of the town, its manners, inhabitants, and diversions, is much upon a level with his own? Indeed, it is the general harbour of fraud and of folly, of duplicity and of impertinence, and I wish few things more fervently than that you may have taken a lasting leave of it. I love the way they talked. Sounded so much more intelligent and respectful than the way we talk now. Everybody's slang so much and talks so casual. We all sound like uneducated bumpkins or something. Remember, however, that I only speak in regard to a public and dissipated life. In private families we may doubtless find as much goodness, honesty, and virtue in London as in the country. If contented with a retired station, I will hope I shall live to see my Evelina the ornament of her neighbourhood, and the pride and delight of her family, giving and receiving joy from such society as may best deserve her affection, and employing herself in such useful and innocent occupations as may secure and merit the tenderest love of her friends, and the worthiest satisfaction of her own heart. Such are my hopes, and such have been my expectations. Disappoint them not, my beloved child, but cheer me with a few lines that may assure me this one short fortnight spent in town has not undone the work of 17 years spent in the country. Arthur Villars. Letter 25. Evelina to the Reverend Mr. Villars. Howard Grove, April 25th. No, my dear sir, no. The work of 17 years remains such as it was, ever unworthy your time and your labour, but not more so now, at least I hope not, than before that fortnight which has so much alarmed you. And yet I must confess that I am not half so happy here at present as I was ere I went to town. But the change is in the place, not in me. Captain Mervyn and Madame Duval have ruined Howard Grove. The harmony that reigned here is disturbed. Our schemes are broken, our way of life is altered, and our comfort is destroyed. But do not suppose London to be the source of those evils, for had our excursion been anywhere else, so disagreeable an addition to our household must have caused the same change at our return. I was sure you would be displeased with Sir Clement Willoughby, and therefore I am by no means surprised at what you say of him. But for Lord Orville, I must own I had greatly feared that my weak and imperfect account would not have procured him in the good opinion which he so well deserves, and which I am delighted to find you seem to have of him. Oh, sir, could I have done justice to the merit of which I believed him possessed, could I have painted him to you such as he appeared to me, then indeed you would have had some idea of the claim which he has to your approbation. She really likes him. After the last letter which I wrote in town, nothing more passed previous to our journey hither, except a very violent quarrel between Captain Mervyn and Madame Duval. As the captain intended to travel on horseback, he had settled that we 4 females should make use of his coach. Madame Duval did not come to Queen Anne Street till the carriage had waited some time at the door, and then, attended by Monsieur Dubois, she made her appearance. The captain, impatient to be gone, would not suffer them to enter the house, but insisted that we should immediately get into the coach. We obeyed, but were no sooner seated than Madame Duval said, "Come, Monsieur Dubois, these girls can make very good room for you. Sit closer, children." Mrs. Mervyn looked quite confounded, and Monsieur Dubois, after making some apologies about crowding us, actually got into the coach, on the side with Miss Mervyn and me. But no sooner was he seated than the captain, who had observed this transaction very quietly, walked up to the coach door, saying, "What, neither with your leave nor by your leave?" Monsieur Dubois seemed rather shocked, and began to make abundance of excuses, but the captain neither understood nor regarded him, and very roughly said, "Look'ee, monsieur, this here may be a French fashion for all I know, but give and take is fair in all nations, and so now d'ye see, I'll make bold to show you an English one." And then, seizing his wrist, he made him jump out of the coach. Monsieur Dubois instantly put his hand upon his sword and threatened to resent this indignity. The captain, holding up his stick, bid him draw at his peril. Mrs. Mervyn, greatly alarmed, got out of the coach, and standing between them, entreated her husband to re-enter the house. "None of your clack," cried he angrily. "What the devil do you suppose? I can't manage a Frenchman?" Meantime, Madame Duval called out to Monsieur Dubois, a whole bunch of French, and I can't read French, so I'm going to skip it. "Oh, ho, you demand pardon, do you?" said the captain. "I thought as much. I thought you'd come too. So you have lost your relish for an English situation, have you?" strutting up to him with looks of defiance. A crowd was now gathering, and Mrs. Mervyn again besought her husband to go into the house. "Why, what a plague is the woman afraid of? Did you ever know a Frenchman that could not take an affront? I warrant Monsieur knows what he is about. Don't you, Monsieur?" Monsieur Dubois, not understanding him, only said, "Play-il, monsieur?" "No, nor dish me neither," answered the captain. "But be that as it may, what signifies our parleying here? If you've anything to propose, speak at once. If not, why, let us go on our journey without more ado." "Parbleu, j'entends rien moi? Moi? I'm so not good at French. Don't make fun of me. I mean, fine, go ahead, make fun of me. I admit I'm terrible. Hey, do you want to come say hi? Oh, a ball, a tiny ball. Don't choke on it. Oh, that's scary. Here. Oh, so pretty. So pretty.
Oh.
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 Oh. Oh, anyway, all that French that I can't read, cried Monsieur Dubois, shrugging his shoulders and looking very dismal. Mrs. Mervyn then advanced to him and said, in French, that she was sure the captain had not any intention to affront him, and begged he would desist from a dispute which could only be productive of mutual misunderstanding, as neither of them knew the language of the other. This sensible remonstrance had the desired effect, and Monsieur Dubois, making a bow to everyone except the captain, very wisely gave up the point and took leave. We then hoped to proceed quietly on our journey, but the turbulent captain would not yet permit us. He approached Madame Duval with an exulting air and said, "Why, how's this, madame? What has your champion deserted you? Why, I thought you told me that you old gentlewomen had it all your own way among them French sparks." "As to that, sir," answered she, "it's not of no consequence what you thought, for a person who can behave in such a low way may think what he pleases for me, for I shan't mind." "Why, then, mistress, since you must needs make so free," cried he, "please to tell me the reason why you took the liberty for to ask any of your followers into my coach without my leave. Answer me to that." Why then, pray, sir, returned she, tell me the reason why you took the liberty to treat the gentleman in such an unpolite way as to take and pull him neck and heels out. I am sure he had not done nothing to affront you, nor nobody else, and I don't know what great hurt he would have done you by just sitting still in the coach. He would not have eat it. What, do you think then that my horses have nothing to do but to carry about your snivelling Frenchman? If you do, madam, I must make bold to tell you, you are out, for I'll see 'em hanged first. More brute you then, for they've never carried nobody half so good. Why, look ye, madam, if you must needs provoke me, I'll tell you a piece of my mind. You must know, I can see as far into a millstone as another man. And so, if you thought for to fob me off with one of your smirking French puppies for a son-in-law, why, you'll find yourself in a hobble, that's all. Sir, you're a... But I won't say what. But I protest, I had no such a thought. No more hadn't Monsieur Dubois. My dear, said Mrs. Mervyn, we shall be very late. Well, well, answered he, get away then, off with you, as fast as you can go, it's high time. As to Molly, she's fine lady enough in all conscience, I want none of your French chaps to make her worse. And so saying, he mounted his horse, and we drove off, and I could not but think with regret of the different feelings we experienced upon leaving London to what had belonged to our entering it. During the journey, Madame Duval was so very violent against the captain that she obliged Mrs. Mervyn to tell her that when in her presence she must beg her to choose some other subject of discourse. We had a most affectionate reception from Lady Howard, whose kindness and hospitality cannot fail of making everybody happy who is disposed so to be. Adieu, my dearest sir. I hope, though I have hitherto neglected to mention it, that you have always remembered me to whoever has made any inquiry concerning me. Okay, well, that's 2 chapters. They're both kind of short. Oh, this next one's so very short. Maybe I'll just do it too. 3 chapters. Oh. Letter 26. Evelina to the Reverend Mr. Billers, Howard Grove, April 27th. Oh, my dear sir, I now write in the greatest uneasiness. Madame Duval has made a proposal which terrifies me to death, and which was as unexpected as it is shocking. She had been employed for some hours this afternoon in reading letters from London, and just about tea time she sent for me into her room and said with a look of great satisfaction, "Come here, child, I've got some very good news to tell you, something that will surprise you, I'll give you my word, for you hadn't no notion of it." I begged her to explain herself, and then, in terms which I cannot repeat, she said she had been considering what a shame it was to see me such a poor country shamefaced thing, when I ought to be a fine lady, and that she had long and upon several occasions blushed for me, though she must own the fault was none of mine, for nothing better could be expected from a girl who had been so immured. However, she assured me she had at length hit upon a plan which would make quite another creature of me.
Oh, you want to say hi? Come here.
Oh.
Are you singing?
I waited without much impatience to hear what this preface led to. Oh, kisses. Oh, my goodness. Thank you. But I was soon awakened to more lively sensations when she acquainted me that her intention was to prove my birthright and to claim by law the inheritance of my real family. It would be impossible for me to express my extreme consternation when she thus unfolded her scheme. My surprise and terror were equally great. I could say nothing. I heard her with a silence which I had not the power to break. Oh, you found another little toy. Oh, so cute. Yeah. She then expatiated very warmly upon the advantages I should reap from her plan, talked in a high style of my future grandeur, assured me how heartily I should despise almost everybody and everything I had hitherto seen, predicted my marrying into some family of the first rank in the kingdom, and finally said I should spend a few months in Paris, where my education and manners might receive their last polish. She enlarged also upon the delight she should have, in common with myself, from mortifying the pride of certain people, and showing them that she was not to be slighted with impunity. In the midst of this discourse, I was relieved by a summons to tea. Madame Duval was in great spirits, but my emotion was too painful for concealment, and everybody inquired into the cause. I would fain have waived the subject, but Madame Duval was determined to make it public. She told them that she had it in her head to make something of me, and that they should soon call me by another name than that of Anvil, and yet that she was not going to have the child married neither. I could not endure to hear her proceed, and was going to leave the room, which, when Lady Howard perceived, she begged Madame Duval would defer her intelligence to some other opportunity. But she was so eager to communicate her scheme that she could bear no delay, and therefore they suffered me to go without opposition. Indeed, whenever my situation or affairs are mentioned by Madame Duval, she speaks of them with such bluntness and severity that I cannot be enjoined a task more cruel than to hear her. I was afterwards acquainted with some particulars of the conversation by Miss Mervyn, who told me that Madame Duval informed them of her plan with the utmost complacency, and seemed to think herself very fortunate in having suggested it. But soon after, she accidentally betrayed that she had been instigated to the scheme by her relations, the Branghtons, whose letters, which she received today, first mentioned the proposal. She declared that she would have nothing to do with any roundabout ways, but go openly and instantly to law in order to prove my birth, real name, and title to the estate of my ancestors. So if you remember, her father married her mother, and he thought that he was going to get this huge fortune, but Madame Duval refused to give it to her, that it was hers, it was supposed to be hers, to her own daughter. And so when she married this man, he expected to receive all this money, and Madame Duval refused to give it, even though she was supposed to. And so he abandoned her, and they had run away and married in private. And Madame Duval actually wanted them to get married. She's the one that tried to force the marriage, and the girl did not want to marry him. But she finally just consented. She finally just consented because what's the matter? Because she was sick of fighting with her, but she didn't want this big, huge wedding and everything, so they eloped, which made Madame Duval so mad because she wanted to do this big wedding, and that's why she refused to give her inheritance, because she eloped and married the man, even though Madame Duval was trying to force her to marry the man, and she didn't like him. So she married him, and he abandoned her. And since they got married privately, had eloped, there were no witnesses, so he just tore up and burned their marriage certificate and left her, and told everybody that he'd never been married. And she didn't have the marriage certificate or witnesses to prove that they were married. And so then she was pregnant. So then she's looked on upon this as this terrible, wicked girl who went off and got pregnant when she wasn't married, but she was married. And now he won't give Evelina her inheritance because he refused to acknowledge her mother. So technically she's supposed to, because he was rich too. So Madame Duval is supposed to, Evelina is supposed to inherit Madame Duval's fortune, which is a lot. And she's also supposed to inherit her father's fortune, which is also a lot. So she's actually supposed to inherit a ton of money, but it's very possible she could get nothing. So how impertinent and officious in these Branghtons to interfere thus in my concerns. You can hardly imagine what a disturbance this plan has made in the family. The captain, without inquiring into any particulars of the affair, has peremptorily declared himself against it, merely because it has been proposed by Madame Duval, and they have battled the point together with great violence. Mrs. Mervyn says she will not even think till she hears your opinion. But Lady Howard, to my great surprise, openly avows her approbation of Madame Duval's intention. However, she will write her reasons and sentiments upon the subject to you herself. As to Miss Mervyn, she is my second self, and neither hopes nor fears but as I do. And as to me, I know not what to say, nor even what to wish. I have often thought my fate peculiarly cruel, to have but one parent, and from that one to be banished forever, while on the other side I have but too well known and felt the propriety of the separation. And yet you may much better imagine than I can express the internal anguish which sometimes oppresses my heart, when I reflect upon the strange indifferency that must occasion a father never to make his least inquiry after the health, the welfare, or even the life of his child. Oh, sir, to me the loss is nothing. Greatly, sweetly, and most benevolently have you guarded me from feeling it. But for him I grieve indeed. I must be divested, not merely of all filial piety, but of all humanity, could I ever think upon this subject and not be wounded to the soul. Again I must repeat, I know not what to wish. Think for me, therefore, my dearest sir, and suffer my doubting mind, that knows not which way to direct its hopes, to be guided by your wisdom and unerring counsel. Evelina. Okay. Oh, half an hour. Perfect. The next one is going to be that the letter, how she said Lady Howard thinks it's a good idea. So this next letter is going to be from Lady Howard, explaining why she thinks it'll be good for her to confront her father and demand that he give her her just dues and that she can be called by his name, and be claimed by him. Then reading it, I'm all hoarse. So that's it. We did 3 chapters today. They were all short, but tomorrow we'll pick up on chapter 26, 7. The heck, I forgot. Well, we'll pick it up tomorrow, and we'll carry on with the story. I love this book. It's so cute to me. I know it's a little bit hard to follow, but I really enjoy it. And if you have any questions, like if you're like, what the heck is going on, put them in the chat, and I'll answer you if there's something that you're like, I don't understand. I've read it or listened to it actually several times, so I'm real familiar with it. So if you have any questions, I could probably answer. Anyway, yeah, just let me know. Leave a like on the video. Don't forget to join me tomorrow or next time if I don't do it. I've been really good. I've only missed 2 days since I started, so I'm quite proud of myself. But we'll see you next time. Good night.